In our modern times, we tend to laugh and scoff at anyone mentioning magic and any sense of seriousness. We regard magic coming from dollar store magicians doing illusory sleight of hand tricks, and that's where it stops. The idea of real magicians and witches, disregarded as hokey beliefs of times past. For modern practitioners, modern society views them as a LARP or a form of cosplay. No one really believes that burning sage removes bad spirits kind of vibe. But what if I told you there was a spell that you were under? That this was intentional, and this in itself is evidence of real magic, and the world is separated by two types of people: the magicians and their subjects. To begin with this concept, we must break down what really holds society together. We will leave reality alone for now. But for human society, what holds every minute or large detail together is belief. You believe in the laws and rules of your country, your culture. You believe in the story of this larger whole of a set of people. There are institutions and books and plays and films created to reinforce this. Currency, guiding principles put down in a constitution. There are chants and mantras about it, songs about the concept of a country or culture, derivative songs and stories and mantras that talk about some aspect of this shared reality. In many ways, these are a form of ritual. These rituals keep branching out of the shared belief. With this belief in expansion, there are some that don't believe so much. There are ones that rituals and themes and songs and stories don't resonate within them. We sometimes call these dissidents, but often it's just natural rebelliousness that will be corrected to fit in with the march of society eventually. Of course, if this starts to become a cohesive story of rebellion, and more of these dissidents come together and share in this new story, this new culture, this new ritual, then there can be a clash against the broader cultural norm. This is when we see what is called counterculture or cultural revolutions. Now consider a person removed from this culture and lives alone. Maybe he has a family, a farm, and is highly isolated. How often does this person think or feel about these things? How much does it influence his day-to-day chores, life, etc.? Let's say this person has no internet, TV, or radio, just wants to live away from society. How different is this person's life? What drives and motivates him? What morals need to be implemented in him to live a certain way? Would he not do what needs to be done to maintain his life, farm, family, survival? Would the culture and country mean a whole lot to him if he was not being infringed upon by it? This hypothetical man is free from the spell that was cast upon those living in society. He's not influenced by it. It has no power over him. And thus we can begin to see how magic works in reality. Is he free from any magic? No. If he has a family, the wife and children can cast spells on him, and vice versa. The animals and plants have their own versions of spells being cast. Spell casting does not need to be conscious awareness of doing it or how to do it. Often, however, we learn to cast spells subconsciously by watching others do it, watching how others obtain what they want, how they act, behave, and say to get things they want and desire. We can see when it fails. We can see when it succeeds. We can watch real people, or the people in stories on our devices. Any influence over another living thing is a spell, a magic spell. Words are magic. Thoughts and beliefs are magic. Intention is magic. These are the things that hold the only true power. True power is influence over others. There is no other power. Brute force is just intimidation, a rather lazy spell that uses fear as its base. Most of us do this unconsciously and view it as just nature, the natural way of things. This, of course, is another spell. When you start peeling away things in regards to magic, you start to see that everything we think of as the natural way of the world is imbued with magic and spells. The only unconscious practitioners are the victims. Sure, you can get lucky, as we say, but others have found the ability of the magician and knowingly wield it against you. Grant Morrison, a famous comic book writer, practices what is called chaos magic. Chaos magic is a modern tradition of magic that emerged in England in the 1970s as part of the wider neo-pagan and esotericist subculture. It draws heavily from the occult beliefs of artist Austin Osman Spare, who developed the use of sigils and gnosis to empower them. Chaos magic teaches that the essence of magic is that perceptions are conditioned by beliefs, and that the world as we perceive it can be changed by deliberately changing those beliefs. Chaos magicians treat belief as a tool, often creating their own idiosyncratic magical system, and borrowing from other traditions, religions, popular culture, and philosophy. Chaos magic is about using whatever ideas and practices are helpful to you at that moment, even if they contradict the ones you used previously. Chaos magic can utilize and reconstruct the probabilities and fabric of existence that are interconnected to reality, bestowing magical powers and mastery of spells that are capable of warping reality. Now, as you can see, chaos magic is born in postmodernity. It believes that everything in the universe is merely a construct, an illusion, a simulation, if you will, or construct of God, if you want to look at it in another way. Postmodernism isn't the only time we have regarded this way of looking at the world, but it's important to note that within this epoch lies a lot of chaos magic that is shifting paradigms. There's a lot of magicians out there casting spells that are taking down previous spells. It is the balance of power, with the unconscious beings in the middle, the fodder for this battle of magicians. In Peter Carroll's book, Liber Null and the Psychonaut, he discusses the concept of breaking the social conditioning of religion to realize that anything a person does is simply a pattern that needs to be broken in order to effectively use chaos magic. Carroll referred to the concept as magical paradigm shifting and essentially said that one should never use the same ritual, sigil, or belief twice unless that's the particular belief at the moment. Chaos magic involves a practitioner to execute a magical release of energy to affect the natural flow that occurs in the physical world. The idea is that chaos is the natural state, and this practice can adjust this chaos to one's favor. These magicians are in tune with chaos, probabilities, synchronicity, semiotics, fractals, and mathematical coincidences. You do not need to be good at math to understand the principles of chaos magic, but you can see how the spell is forming, I hope. Chaos magic does away with old rituals and boils it down to intentionality and minimal ritual. It is about focusing energy, and most disregard having to meditate at all. It is merely a quiet focusing on the intention. Magical symbols are created and charged with this. These are called sigils. Sigils are magical symbols created. As per chaos magicians say, you can create these on your own, without the old ways of ritual, which was sort of a spell all of its own. The idea fundamentally is that chaos magic seems to want to break the practice of magic just from the powerful magicians and democratize it. It has been successful to some regard, but there are still very powerful spells that remain that have influence over us. Some famous sigils are too powerful they last generations and spread to other cultures, expanding the spell of these magicians. If we were to take some of what chaos magic talks about, we can see that it's highly likely there are some very powerful magicians that believe in this to some degree. You can call it psychology and learning how to influence people, and using that to your advantage. Creating a logo is not a sigil, it's using knowledge to subconsciously influence you. But I say, how is that not a sigil? How is it not a spell? Psychology itself is a magic trick of illusion, a spell to put the realm of your consciousness and behavior in the hands of a few select magicians that any time can instruct you on how to behave and what is proper behavior, much in the way that religion did in the past. Now, let's think of those who were in power, and we can say these are the powerful magicians, or they were given the tools to perform magic from the more powerful magicians. And what do they fear the most? The loss of said power. Again, the power is the ability to influence you or to have influence over you. And influence doesn't mean obedience. Sometimes the desired effect of the spell is both obedience and repulsion. If you want to divide and conquer a people, a divisive spell that both rallies one side and condemns the other is a powerful spell. Chaos magic believes that the power of magic is belief. This is where it cross-sections with postmodernism. Postmodernism believes that everything is a social construct. The central defining tenet of chaos magic is arguably the idea that belief is a tool for achieving effects. In chaos magic, complex symbol systems like the Kabbalah, I Ching, and astrology are treated as maps, symbolic and linguistic constructs that can be manipulated to achieve certain ends, but that have no absolute or objective truth value in themselves. Religious scholar Hugh Urban notes that chaos magic's rejection of all fixed models of reality reflects one of its central tenets: nothing is true, everything is permitted. Both Urban and religious scholar Bernd Christian Otto trace this position to the influence of postmodernism on contemporary occultism. Another influence comes from Speer, who believed that belief itself was a form of psychic energy that became locked up in rigid belief structures and that could be easily released by breaking down the structures. This free belief could then be directed towards new aims. Otto has argued that chaos magic filed away the whole issue of truth, thus liberating and instrumentalizing individual belief as a mere tool of ritual practice. Phil Hine has stated, "Our ego is a fiction of stable selfhood which maintains itself by perpetuating the distinctions of what I am or what I am not, what I like or what I don't like. Beliefs about one's politics, religion, degree of free will, and subculture all help maintain a stable sense of self." But of course, this is all a spell too. The difference is that postmodernists are nihilists. They have no source for this. The illusion still has to begin somewhere. Christians would say this magic and spellcasting and intentional misleading through illusion is the devil, but they fail to grasp the bigger picture in their teachings. If there is a God and God created all things, then the deception is as much a part of God as the holy is. In fact, the deception is the whole point. If you believe in the one consciousness version of God, then you are God, who has forgotten that you are God, to experience this creation of yours. Then the same holds true, that you've actually put a spell on yourself, and all the magic and spells of influence over you are all yourself trying to deceive yourself, in hopes that you can unravel them all, take control, become a magician yourself, and move past it, and then return to the consciousness of the one reformed. Now, if everything is a spell, some magic trick designed to hold influence and power over you, what do? How can you battle such powerful magicians and who have layer upon layer of influence over you on every level of our world and society? Well, every magician knows not to give away the secrets to how a trick works, because if you do, the illusion is broken, and when the illusion is broken, so is the spell. You have all felt this in your lives. You've been madly in love with someone that it feels like you're under the spell of someone else. You are, of course. And if that relationship turns sour or you drift apart or break up suddenly, it is because through some mechanism the spell was broken. In many cases you can then look at that person, and see them almost entirely different entity that you did under that spell. Anyone in the pits of lust and love will know that being under a spell is true. The key to going against the magic is to learn its tricks and to say what is behind the trick. If you want to change the world on a larger scale, then work to expose the trick that is holding the people in its spell. You of course can also learn how to do magic yourself, and do it in a way that evokes positive changes in your life and in the world. Create new magic, stories, poems, art, culture, and imbue it with your spells. Learn the magic tricks, become a magician, and grow your power. If we look at the layers of existence, we have on the top consciousness, then we have matter, and then we have the subatomic and quantum realms. We as conscious beings change the physical reality with our thoughts, often and still in the rudimentary form of having an idea and then using tools to build what was our idea. But it's also in the power of influencing others to do your bidding. With this, there isn't a big leap as one would think to change reality without physical tools. It's happened for a very long time around you. The illusion is real. You are under a spell, and you need to wake up. Now, what do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinions. And yes, I'm casting a spell for you to like, share, and subscribe so that I can grow this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.